Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the greatest blueprint. I done took your line. Let's start again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the greatest.
That's not. We do this every week. We go through this. The greatest blueprint. Hi, everyone. My name is Deana Davis. I'm a licensed social worker. I don't know what Dr. Was is doing over there today, but yes, hello.
Trying to get everything to go live at the same time. So what happens is with on the Instagram side of life with StreamYard, it will go live automatically on LinkedIn and Facebook,
Okay.
but on Instagram, I have to start it separately.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Yeah, so it's extra layers, no biggie. So that's what I'm taking care of at the moment. So when you see
Okay.
my eyes jutting around from place to place, that's why I'm trying to take care of that.
Okay.
So while I'm doing that, how are you doing today?
I had a lot of energy in the first half of the day, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, the majority of the day, I was like high energy. And then
Okay.
around like 6 o'clock,
Uh-uh.
I started declining, started crashing.
Uh-oh.
Not crashing, but declining. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like, hey, low energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I'm
Okay,
here.
how you doing? But
Yeah,
you're here nonetheless.
yes.
All
How are
right.
you?
I am doing fine. Like I said, just preoccupied trying to make sure we're live in all the places we need to be live with. But I'm excited to talk about the topic tonight. So
Yeah.
why don't you go ahead and set the people up for what
Okay.
they know they need?
Okay. So you guys already know we need a notebook and a pen.
Hmm.
Because when we go through, we drop these gems. We want you to be able to capture them,
Hmm.
and to go back and reflect on anything and any assignments or any projects that we give for you to do from week to week or
That's
session to
right.
session or live to live
That's
and everything in between.
that's
But
right.
to keep record and track of your progress, and just to keep all your notes in one space. So
Mhm. Mhm. It's so important because right, we do hear things from time to time where we say we want to make sure that we capture it,
mm,
but we haven't been able to remember where did we hear it,
yeah,
what was it in reference to, right? So we want to make sure y'all have that.
yes,
So, all
and
right,
know where y'all heard it from. It's like,
and know where you heard it from. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Instagram is trying to give me a little bit of challenge here to go live. So for our Instagram people, we do apologize. We are trying our best to make it work here. But all right. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people what the topic is about tonight?
okay. So the topic for tonight is don't call for love
Mm,
unless you're ready.
mm-hmm. Now,
And
how did that
so
come about?
I'm gonna tell them.
Okay.
So I'm watching the TikTok video, and that was the hook for the TikTok video. So I'm like, oh, let me listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about love. We put the love spin on there, but it was like, don't call for something unless you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big TikToker. Well, I think we both are at this point.
At this point, we've grown into it.
Right. And I pulled you in.
Yes,
So
yes.
TikTok, Keith Lee is a very big like food critic and influencer.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the TikTok that I watched, it was talking about how, if you're a food industry or a restaurant, don't call for Keith Lee unless you're ready. And
Mhm.
so this one particular business in Houston, Keith, they sent out, I think he lets the people know like what city he's going
He's
to be in,
coming.
right,
Mhm.
prior to. And so this
Mhm.
particular food restaurant or business, they were sending out like tagging him like, come to us, come to us. So he went, and I didn't see that review, but I just saw the aftermath of it. So
Mhm.
apparently it must have been a really good review, because he doesn't generally tip when he doesn't like the food,
Mhm.
and so he tipped the business owner $4,000.
Yes, y'all. 4,000.
$4,000 because he's
Mhm.
very like spiritual, and he's like,
Mhm.
I'm a steward, I'm a vessel.
Mhm.
If my influence is going to help business owners, and I'm going to
Yes.
utilize it in the proper way. And I got chills as I'm saying it, because I'm just like,
I did too.
right.
I did too. They all in my legs and in my arms
Yes,
and
me
everything.
too.
So that's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, go ahead.
So he's very much like, I'm going to give to what, I'm led to give, right? So for this
Mhm.
particular business, he was led to give $4,000,
Mhm.
2,000 for the business owner and her son,
Mhm.
and I believe it was someone braiding hair outside the business
Correct.
and cutting hair outside the business. So he
That's
said
correct.
2,000 for yourself and 1,000
Mhm.
for the barber and 1,000 for the hairstylist.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
owner then keeps all the money for herself
And her son.
and her son. And they
Mhm.
trying to justify, and Keith Lee is like, no, that's not what I said. I'm very
Mhm.
clear on the messages that I receive and who I'm supposed to
Mhm.
give my money to and who I'm supposed to sow into. And so
Mhm.
it's like this whole thing where it's like, okay, you were calling for him, but
Mhm.
you wasn't ready to receive. And so because
Mhm.
she wasn't ready to receive, it
Mhm.
potentially tarnished her business
Her
reputation.
reputation. Yeah.
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 Because when I say he has thousands, probably millions
Millions.
of followers,
He has a couple million. He has a couple million on Instagram and a couple million on TikTok.
right.
Yeah.
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 So now it's like, oh, we're not going to support you.
Right.
Potentially like the
Right.
followers, like you didn't utilize the funds
You
appropriately.
didn't follow the assignment.
Yes.
Mhm.
So with
Mhm.
it being February
Yes. And
the-
Valentine's Day
and
being next
Valentine's Day,
Wednesday. Yes.
put a little spin on it and
Yes.
we added it. Don't call for love
Mhm.
unless you're ready.
Mhm.
So that's the whole backdrop and the
Yes.
theme for tonight. So
Yes, thank you, thank you. That was a very good summary. All right,
thank
so
you.
yes, y'all. So that's how we got here, and with that, right, it became a deeper conversation, as she mentioned, about doing the work. Right? Have you? We're calling things. We're calling for things to come into our life, but have you done the work to prepare for those things?
Mhm.
And as clinicians, both of us, I'm a doctor of clinical psychology, she's a licensed social worker. Many times we're working with individuals who are saying that they want these things in their lives. And we've been through this ourselves,
Yes.
right? But have did we do the work to one receive it, but also to maintain it?
Mhm.
And I'll speak for myself. I know, goodness gracious, years before I met my husband, I'm saying literally years, I made the decision that I did want to be in a long term, monogamous, committed relationship.
Yeah.
And I went into my closet and I cleaned out clothes and made space
Yes.
for this person. I had no idea who this person was, right? But this goes into don't call for it unless you're ready. And I had to ask myself, it was like, you really trying to give up this space in your closet for somebody else's clothes? I looked at my bed one day and there were books all over it. And it was just like, you understand you're not going to be able to do this, right? These books, you want a body, not books. You got the B-O, but it ain't a
Oh, the real
B-O-O-K,
deep.
right? It ain't, you want a B-O-D-Y next to you. So it was like, so now you got to move the book. So there were habits that I had to change within myself. Now that's just a piece of it. I can go on, but Dina, I see you jumping. What you got to say? Because I got more. I can go even farther back, but you go first.
So I remember when you and I had a conversation and you told me about that story.
Hmm.
And I don't think when you told me that story, I was at the space
You
to
weren't.
do that
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
In terms of like making space and
Hmm.
clearing off the other side of my bed.
Hmm.
But then I really started to do the work,
Hmm.
and I'm like, it popped in my head again, like, oh snap, I have to make space, and it's not just like a physical space; it's the energetic space too. So you have to like make space within your home. You have to clear
Mhm.
out certain energies,
Mhm.
previous relationships. You have to
Mhm.
tours. You have to
Where
delete
them
pictures.
tambourines? Where them tambourines at? Come on, keep it going. Go
You
on.
have to delete pictures.
Mm,
You have to
mm,
remove
mm,
cars from.
mm.
You still
They
want look
not
at this.
ready to hear this. They not ready to
Oh,
hear. They not ready to hear this. They like
because
no.
this
Mhm.
whole thing's whole energy,
Come
right? And
on.
so I'm talking about like text message threads,
Yes.
emails, like
Yes. Yes. Letters,
the
cards, like you
postcard
said. Yes,
from when y'all went away to Italy. I'm
yes,
making up
yes.
scenarios, but
Jewelry.
jewelry. Do you know? Well, you know, but
Yes,
whole wedding
yes,
rings
yes,
in the trash.
yes,
I did
yes,
that
yes, yes.
in
We did.
the
Yes,
trash.
yes, yes.
We're not holding on to anything
That's right.
because it holds energy.
That's right. And
And go ahead.
whoop, whoop, look, Leslie said.
Oh, all right.
Leslie
No, she's
said, "Ready." She
ready.
said,
Ready. Like you have to be ready.
"Exclamation
So when we
point."
say like if you're calling in love, like you said,
Yes.
people are not ready for this type of like energetic shift. So it's like, okay, what are we doing? Are we playing? Because what you say, yes, the trash. Remember the day?
Mhm. Oh, I remember.
Oh my
Because I
gosh.
called
It just
you to tell you about something that was going on this side of the world.
yes.
And
And I
I
was
was
like,
like, and
I
it
gotta
clicked.
go
It
this one over
reminded
here,
you of
trash.
something. Yep.
In my
Yep.
night, I think it was either my nightstand or it was in like my dresser drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's
Mm-hmm.
where, Black people, we keep
Right.
stuff for like drawers. I don't know. But it was like click, click, click. Like, girl,
Yep.
you cannot welcome in new energy or new love if you still
Mm-hmm.
have remnants of old relationships.
Come on.
It's just
Come
not
on.
physically possible. It's not energetically possible.
That's
No space.
and there's right. And so we have to remove it, the memories, the thoughts, all of those types of things. And now here's the thing. We learn from these experiences, right?
Mhm.
So the memories are there, but the attachment to I wish I could go back or I wish that person were
Or
around.
that person's attachment to you.
Come on. Come on.
Because like people, I know we going deep tonight with energy
We
and stuff.
going. Y'all
People's
get the
energy, they gotta be ready. Like, cause we done been doing
yes.
it for a minute now, so you already know how we operate. What they saying?
They said, "Wait, you could already tell
Yes,
that I don't even know if this was right, but I even moved my dog to the other side of the room, ready."
let's go.
That's because you're gonna be kicking them feet. And look, and we got another Leslie. This is my family. She said, "I'm looking forward to this conversation."
Listen,
Come on,
this is what 2 generations. I don't know, but
look,
that she will be the third. Let's go.
she third. Look, she third. Come
Three
on,
generations.
yeah,
But people's attachment to us
yes,
by holding on to
yes,
items,
yes,
that's huge too because
yes.
energetically, like people who have really big energy, they're blocking.
Mhm,
They're
mhm,
blocking anyone
mhm.
from coming in.
Yes.
Just from the thought of, oh, no one is going to love you how I love you. That is a
And let
block.
me tell you something. That I used to have that line down. I swear I wrote that line. Ain't nobody gonna love you like I loved you. Blah 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 blah. And then one day I heard myself, and I was like, "That is correct. No one is going to love you the way that you love them. No one else. No one's gonna love you the way that they loved you,
Right.
because each person is going to love you differently." And ultimately, the person who is going to love you lifetime love, that's the love that you want and desire.
Yeah.
And so I had to be real with me in that, instead of throwing that out like a fight, like they was fighting with, there ain't nobody gonna love you like I love you.
Yeah.
Like,
Popping your
yeah,
neck.
yeah, exactly. All of that. And it was just like, but for real, like, is this your forever person? Because if it was, you wouldn't be having this conversation.
It would not even occur.
Right.
The energy is
So
totally different.
exactly. So
Mhm.
we have to recognize. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. Keep going, because you preaching, preacher.
Let the church say amen. No,
Go
I
ahead.
don't even know what I was saying,
I'm
but
sorry.
no, it's okay. I think I was just talking about the attachments, like people's
Yeah.
attachment to us and how it can have a strong pull on us
Yeah.
as well. So when people place their intentions into the things that they give you, i.e.
Mhm.
a wedding ring, i.e.
Okay.
major things. So it's like they're purchasing this, I want to say a wedding ring with the intentions of you guys being together. By you holding on to it, you're still
Come on.
carrying that intention that's still swirling around
Come
you.
on.
So how
Come
you going
on.
to get out of that cycle
That's
if you
right.
still have this item that has been someone else has placed intentions on
That's
binding
right.
you into this relationship.
So so now to take it back to the Keith Lee story
Hmm.
was that when he handed that money,
That
he
was a
pressed
contract.
down the energy
Hmm.
of the assignment
Hmm.
of that money. And
Hmm.
that money was to go 2,000 to the mother and son,
Hmm.
1,000 to the barber,
Hmm.
1,000 to the hairstylist.
Hmm.
That money had an assignment, and when the person shifted the assignment, it
Hmm.
changes the energy and the outcome that is to come from that,
Yeah.
right? And so from the person's story as a so I watched Keith Lee talk.
Hmm.
I watched the original. I watched him talk about it as
Hmm.
well. It's this fact that the effect of that was he's done other businesses the same, and lines have been down the
Yes.
street.
It's
And
called
it's
the Keith
funny,
Lee effect.
right? Some of those restaurants I've been to,
Hmm.
so I know what those restaurants bring, and I watch it grow. So
Hmm.
I'm just like, to your point, the Keith Lee effect. So okay, so now here's that. So here you took $4,000 and you could have had $40,000. One of those restaurants, that person said they went through 10 cases in a week to a month, and now they were going through 10 cases or more a day, right? So the energy on the assignment,
Hmm.
this is what you're saying. The energy on the ring, if the intention of this ring was for us to be together,
Hmm.
that's the energy on the ring.
Hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, y'all aren't together, but the ring is still in your possession.
It's still carrying the
The
energy.
energy still sits in it. And many times with different jewelry, right, it's amplified.
Yes.
So diamonds and emeralds and everything, like, right, that energy is amplified
Because
now.
it's absorbent.
Come on. And
Go.
you're walking around in it, even if it's in a drawer, if
So
it's
let me.
in a jewelry box. Go
Mhm.
ahead.
So you know how people say, "I'm not giving that ring back."
Come on.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Right. What you gonna do with it?
What we doing? Why are
Right.
you holding on to this energy of this
Eh,
man or this woman or whoever
whoever.
that's toxic or it's not your forever person? Like,
It's
give
not your
it
person.
back.
Right. Right. And why are you holding on to that? Because if that part has come to an end, it's over.
It's over.
And I've had women, when I was growing up, I had women tell me, "Oh yeah, I have all my engagement rings and I just melted them down and repurposed them and so
You're
forth."
single.
Right. And I was like, hmm. And I was like, if that ever happens to me, I'm not keeping it. I don't want it, right? Because we're not together. So there's no sense in me holding on to any of that.
Mhm.
And so the release, right, as we're saying, don't call for love unless you're ready. Check yourself
Yes.
and see what it is that you need to release from yourself. What is it that you need to untether from yourself? And where do you need to grow? So I know I used to have couples contact me, and they weren't married yet.
Yeah.
And they would say, "We're going to get married and we have a problem with our communication. When do you recommend we start working on our communication?"
Now, yesterday.
Right. Because when you get married, all it's going to do, whatever challenges you have, they're going to amplify.
Yes.
All right. So you got to start working on that stuff now. Processing emotions. I told you I was, again, prior to my husband, I remember thinking about where I was after I had broken up with my very serious relationship in my 20s.
Hmm.
And then I was emotionally stagnant,
Hmm.
right? I hadn't grown because I had a friend at the time who said to me, "Whatever you do, do not get into another relationship quickly. Take time to heal and recover from that relationship." And because I valued that person's opinion, I did just that.
Hmm.
And so then, and this is before I had a doctorate, this is before I had a master's,
Hmm.
right? So this was me doing the
The.
work on myself. So I ain't had no techniques, no strategies. I didn't have a therapist,
Hmm.
right? This was me looking at me honestly
Hmm.
and saying, where do I need to grow emotionally? And when I got to be in my 30s, I realized emotionally I was still responding like I was in my 20s.
Hmm.
And I was like, Kat, eventually you want to move into a long-term relationship. I wasn't sure if I wanted to get married, but I knew I wanted to be in a partnership with someone.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I said, you can't be in that partnership and still responding emotionally by shutting down, by stonewalling, by flipping the script and not taking emotional responsibility and accountability for what you're triggering. Like, you got to grow up in these spaces and you have to learn how to speak about your emotions
Mhm.
without letting your emotions speak for you,
Yes.
right? So that means without the tantruming
Mhm.
and right, but being able to say, look, I'm really upset, I'm really disappointed. This is
Mhm.
what was done. Speak to the specifics of it and
Mhm.
how, right? You want to be in a relationship with the person, but what they're doing is causing you to retreat and not feel safe. And to have these types of conversations. And
Mhm.
it took time and it took practice because again, I knew that I wanted to call in this love. I knew I wanted to call in this higher level of relationship, but
Mhm.
I had to do the work.
Yes. Well, I thank you for you doing the work, because with you doing the it sped me up with doing the work, because today, like, I've been called the Zen master. I've been called the Steph Curry of communication, because I've done the work. It's like I
Mhm.
had a speed course. I don't know, crash
Yes, you
course, not
did. You had
course,
an accelerated course.
accelerated. That's the
Yes,
word. An
yes,
accelerated course on healing, communication,
yes,
toxic traits, breaking
yes.
patterns. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
trauma,
one of the
emotional
yeah,
awareness, like
emotional what?
awareness.
Awareness. Yes. I heard clearness, but I said that's not what she said, but it's
Clarity.
clarity helps. Clarity helps. So some people are saying, okay, so what do you do? Like, how do you get here? So number one, as we're saying these things, if anything is ringing true for you, write it down.
Hmm.
Right? This is an area of exploration. If your stomach is jumping, if you're noticing a twitch or some sort in your body, this is you. If you're noticing you're getting emotional, tears are happening or something, this is you. This is a point of exploration
Hmm.
for yourself. The other thing is you got to be honest. People have a tendency to downplay things.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is they will say, oh, it's bothering me a little bit, or I was a little bit mad or irritated. No, you weren't a little bit mad. You was really enraged. And I need I need you to own that, right?
Yeah.
And state it because unfortunately we create a false relationship with self.
Yes.
And
Wow.
so this is the thing, right? Again, if we're calling in love, we have to be authentic
Mhm.
with self. How are we going to know what love feels like and the healthy version of it, not that infamous we called it love, but it was not
Mhm.
love,
Mhm.
right? What does that authentic love feel like to us? And we won't know that if we're not being honest about the other feelings that
Right.
we're experiencing.
Yeah. So the other thing that I want to add to that is we attract what we are,
Go
right?
ahead.
So
Yep.
whatever.
No, I remember one time somebody was trying to talk to me and they was trying to talk to me hard, and I was very interested in talking back.
Mhm.
But I had to recognize where they were
Right.
emotionally.
Mhm.
And that let me know where I was
Yes.
emotionally.
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, no, this is not the outcome that I desire. I
Yes.
got to work on that. Go
Yes.
ahead. So that
So
was
we
self
are
control, it's self awareness and self control
in discipline
and discipline. Yes.
and discipline, because I always say, like, we're going to get tested. We say that we want a level like 10 relationship,
Mm,
but then we're going to get hit
mhm,
by a level 5. And so when
mhm,
level 5 comes along, kind of similar to what you just expressed, are we going
mhm,
to be able to say, no, this isn't what I want? Like, honestly, like, level
mhm,
5 could be attractive, like your type, top to bottom, but
mhm.
internally they could not be it. So are you going to be okay with throwing level 5 back into the water and pressing forward with what you really want?
That's
And
right.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Facts.
Yes.
We got to look at that whole mirror. And sometimes you need a friend to help you look in the mirror because I
Yes.
always talk about the story, that dress that I gave you a long time ago, that
Hmm.
denim jumper that
Yes.
I loved. I couldn't wait to get into that denim jumper. And then I put that denim jumper on, and my girlfriend said, the world ain't ready for that. And I was like, well, what you mean? And I didn't have a three-way mirror. I couldn't see what was behind me.
Hmm.
And it was a shirt in the back. It was a
Hmm.
dress in the front and a shirt in the back.
Hmm.
And so, right. But thank goodness I had a friend that
Right.
was a friend.
Right.
It wasn't like, yeah, girl, go on and wear that.
Yes.
Right. So you need that person. I didn't shut down many a relationship. Oh, I'm gonna go out with something. No, you not. That
Yeah.
person is does not have your best interest in heart, mind, or soul, right? But you need that it's not about hating, it is about loving and protecting.
Right.
Because right, when I know someone is literally calling love into their life, I want them to have that. Client, friend, family, I want them to have that. So if I see, sense, smell, no, that ain't what it is, I'm gonna put it on the table. Of course, as a grown person, you make your own decisions,
Right.
but I'm going to let you know if I see something that is a red flag. Because as you say, we're not out here playing capture the flag,
We're not. This is not Six Flags.
right? Come on, there's six red ones at that, right?
Right. This is not the circus. Okay. You can enter, you can buy a ticket for the circus, but
Yes,
if we're healing, it's not like, ooh, a big top with three
right,
red flags. Like,
right,
no, we're going the other way. So,
exactly,
yes.
exactly. So people do, they show up in your life to be a mirror, assess where you are, right, and where you want to go and
Hmm.
how you want to grow and where you need to grow. So I will say and Edmund and I have talked about this when we met each other, I
Hmm.
was very clear on what I was working on in my life, right?
Hmm.
And he was also clear on what he was working on and what he was looking for. And
Hmm.
we sat down, it was like a business interview,
Hmm.
and we sat down and I said, look, these are the spaces where I am still healing
Hmm.
and reeling from. These are my concerns. And so I had dated a couple people. Some of them seemed like they were going to be serious. And then 3 months later, poof, it's
Hmm.
like, where did they go? What happened? We was just Joe on the phone the night before. Nothing was different. The calls were coming in the morning, good morning. The calls were coming at night, good night. The calls were coming through the day. Everything was fine and dandy. And then all of a sudden they disappeared. And
Hmm.
I was, and then you start running the tapes back and it's like, well, did I miss something? Did I say something? Did
Yeah.
they say something? And it
Hmm.
was like, no, I got a pretty good memory. Everything was fine. So then you start worrying, right?
Hmm.
Did something happen to him? Is everything okay? But my gut, I got a great gut, right? And my gut is like, no, they good. So
Hmm.
then it's like, well, what is going on? And then they would disappear. And
Hmm.
then 6 weeks to 2 months later, they'd reappear
Reappear.
and right, and they give
Spiel.
their spiel about how they were getting attached and they didn't want to be in that committed type of relationship, and my thing is like, well, you could have said that instead of just disappearing. Like, I don't know why you went back to sixth grade and you just disappeared. That didn't make sense to me.
Hmm.
So that happened a couple of times. So now all of a sudden here Edmund shows up, and to the point, I had been calling for love. I already told y'all I had cleaned out space in my closet. I had made sure I wasn't keeping books and journals and all
On it.
types of stuff in the bed. I um I had worked on my emotional responses to situations. I had done all these things. And how did I did it with friends,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because the whole thing was, I'm not in a romantic relationship. How am I going to learn these skills?
Yes.
And it was like, you learn the skills with the relationships that you have,
And yes.
right? So I learned how to have critical and crucial conversations with
Yes.
people. I learned how to do disclaimers. I
Yes.
learned how to journal and write out what I needed to say and what I was feeling, right? I learned everything that we tell our clients, everything that I teach my mentees, everything
Yeah.
I legit went through.
Hmm.
And so then finally it was like, okay, this is what where I am. And I am fearful that in 3 months you are going to disappear. So what I know I'm going to do is I'm emotionally hang back. All right.
I'm gonna
And
peek the scene on the
I'm
game.
gonna peep the scene and I'm gonna watch. And on day 91, if you still here, I might move a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
I might. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the other thing that I did was I called my girls, the
Yes.
ones who I knew me,
Mm-hmm.
and I would listen to in a state of heightened anxiety.
Yes.
Okay? Because you need people who can cut through your internal noise.
Yes.
And so I said, look, y'all, this one acting like he ain't going nowhere. This is what he said. This is what he said. And he has been consistent. But I already know that I might go a little buck wild emotionally, internally, 3 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
If you see me slipping, I need you to talk to your girl. Like I need you to cut
Pull me
me,
back. Pull me
pull
back.
me back, pull me back in.
You got one pinky off the ledge, like on the ledge.
Girl,
Everything else
pinky toe is there.
right.
And that's exactly what happened. We hit that 3 month mark, and I just started complaining about stuff and
Mm-hmm.
doing all types of stuff. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in my car and my girlfriend was like, and what are you complaining about? And you know, I'm not a complainer. So she was like, what are you complaining about? And she was just like, I'm still not hearing it. Run that story back again. And so she was like, Kat, I think you're in that place that you talked about. And I was like, what? She was like, I think you're trying to mess it up.
Mhm.
And I go, thank you. Okay. And then I had to work through it. And then I confronted him and I said, I am in that space where I am attempting to sabotage this because I am fearful that you're going to disappear like the other ones did.
Mm.
And he said what he always says to me, y'all gonna make me cry. I'm up here telling the story. I ain't talking about y'all gonna
Don't
make me cry. Talk about projection. Y'all gonna make me cry,
right,
right?
like
It's me.
nobody's even saying
Nobody say
anything.
anything to me, right?
No chat,
Exactly.
no
Nothing,
nothing.
nothing. It's just quiet, right? Y'all gonna do this, right? But I did.
Yeah, okay, dear Max.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. So, but I told him, and he said, I will tell you as long as I need to tell you that I'm not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I will not ever get tired of telling you that. And so I needed that literally to soothe my soul,
Yeah.
right? Because our right, we have a mind body spirit connection. My mind had gotten so used to something happening
Yeah.
that it would trip my body into a fight, flight, or freeze mode, right? I went into stress mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, energetically, as we talked about for those who are just joining us, right? Energetically, I had been prepared for this pattern
Mm-hmm.
of emotional investment without a return on investment.
Yes.
And this person was
An
saying,
emotional
no, there's going,
disconnect.
say it again.
And an emotional disconnect for them to
Yes, yes,
connect.
exactly. And so I had to get rewired,
Yeah.
right, for it. And again, to go back to the title of the show, I had put a call out for love,
Yes.
and now love showed up.
Mhm.
And the question was I ready? Was I willing to now walk through this next part of love?
Yes.
And I had to look at I had to look at relationship patterns, the part that I played, what I was used to, what became expectant. I
Mm-hmm.
had to look at all what was the longest relationship I had ever been in,
Mm-hmm.
what would happen when this relationship extended past that, because it was like, oh, I don't know, I ain't never been here before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then you start looking, well, who has been in a relationship long before and how did they navigate it? Right? What become your relationship goals? Like all of these things
Mm-hmm.
start going through. Go ahead. I know I've been talking for a minute. Go ahead.
So many points. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
I'll start with the more recent point that you just made in regards to rewiring your thought process.
Hmm.
And so I always tell, I don't even know what to say, my boyfriend, my man, my
Mm.
guy, I don't know,
My
but
man, my man, my man.
my man,
Go
my
ahead.
man, my it's funny, but I hate it. I would never be
I
like,
know you wouldn't. I know
oh,
you wouldn't. That's like,
but
I say my husband because my mother
yes,
used to always say, I can't stand when people say my husband, my husband. So I say it now because it's
he
just
be
funny to
rolling his
me.
eyes at you
Yes,
like
it's just funny.
the person I'm in a relationship with. Let's say
There we
that.
go. There we go.
Um, I'm pre-wired for disappointment.
Mm.
And so from
Put
childhood,
a one in the chat room if there's any other people who have been. You may not be currently, but you have been, and maybe you still are pre-wired for disappointment. Go on and put that one in that chat room. That is real.
yes.
I'm gonna put one in there for myself because I have been.
Look,
I got you. I got one in there for you too. There
okay.
we go. Okay, go ahead.
So I've been pre-wired for disappointment from
Mhm.
childhood through most of my like pretty much all of my relationships up until
Mhm.
this point. And he's not perfect, but this is
Mhm.
just me being authentically real, right? And so
Mhm.
with
We
that,
getting some additional ones. Go
okay,
ahead.
with that wiring for disappointment, like being pre-wired for disappointment, it's like I had to consciously make the decision to rewire my nervous system, right? So,
Mhm.
like the negative thoughts, I had to really like self-soothe my thoughts on my own.
Mhm.
There have been times where I have expressed like fear, well, my fear about moving forward, or us making it past a certain point. The
Mhm.
3 to 6 month mark was crucial because I'm just like,
Mhm.
like, okay, now we're like,
Mhm.
a little bit over a year. So it's like, okay, but I'm still like, like
Mhm. Mhm.
cautious and paying attention.
Trepidatious. Yes.
Right. But
Mhm.
I'm not as fearful as I was in the beginning. I'm more so grateful at the point where
Mhm.
I am now because
Mhm.
I consciously did the work to rewire my system. So
Mhm.
tapping, EFT tapping, affirmations in the morning, a lot of
Mhm.
journaling, a lot of conversations with you where you're just like, okay, well, yeah, like real conversation. I don't even want to say what she said, guys, because she nuts in real life. The ones who know, okay. But it having those real conversations with
Mhm.
also helped me to get grounded, and just staying focused on what it is that I wanted versus
Mhm.
running out of fear. And
Mhm.
so I think that conscious effort of like we know what we're calling in and we know
Come on.
that we're doing to
Mhm.
attract the same frequency, the level of where we are. It's like, okay, well,
Mhm.
am I going to mess this up because of fear? Because this person has not done the things that
Come
previous people
on.
have done, and they're not the same person. So it's like, why sabotage something because out of fear?
Mhm.
I was watching a TikTok video where it was like, okay, when fear comes up, that means you're right on the brink of what you are asking for. So
Yeah.
it can either push through the fear or you can
Mhm.
succumb to the fear. And so it's
Mhm.
a conscious decision to push through the fear. It's like, okay, we're going, like, because you want what's on the other side of fear. And
Mhm.
allow your ego to take over and get the tambourine.
Come on. Come on. Go ahead. You going. I don't want to stop you.
Not allowing your ego to interfere because your ego is your safety mechanism. But
Mhm.
a lot of talking to myself as well, like, okay, I'm safe, we're safe,
Self-talk.
and talking to my inner child as well, because
Come
that's
on.
what's screaming through. It's like, okay,
Tantruming. Tantruming.
teach,
Right.
because we don't know, we're so used to not being properly handled or not being taken
Mm.
care of, or
Mm.
disregarded or disconnected from. So
Mhm.
it's a scary feeling.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
scary, but we have to push through because everything that we want is on the other side of fear. And
Come on.
regardless, like any relationship can end or break down, but it's like, okay, how are you showing up to the relationship? Are you adding to the breakdown? Are you causing the breakdown? Or are you showing up as your true authentic self? Because everyone
Mhm.
has a choice. So if that person decides to come out of alignment with you, that's not on
Mm.
you because you have shown up as your authentic self.
And,
That's
and
on
your
them.
and your current age.
Oh gosh.
Mhm.
Why did I go there
Mhm. Mm.
with the stank face?
Wait, that's right. Thank you, Escape Healing Channel. Talk that talk,
Oh,
sis.
that's
Love it.
Aisha.
Oh, is it? Hey.
Yeah, so you want to talk about coming in as my
As your age, yes, because you're talking about coming in as your authentic self. So first, what I would like people to do who are in the chat room. So Dina mentioned something very important, right? That when we're in relationships, many times, right, our inner child is screaming, right? Our younger version of self. And if that hit true for you, put what age was it screams. So for me, a lot of times it's my 8-year old
mm-hmm,
self that is screaming, that wants to be heard, that is trying to get attention. So put whatever age it is that pops to your mind. You can take time after the show to discover what that age has to say to you. And how do you do that? Literally get a pen, piece of paper, open up a tab, and just say, okay, 8-year old self, what is it that you want to share with me? What is it, 5-year old self? Look, she said 8 too.
mm-hmm,
So, what is it? And then find out what it is that and whatever is coming to mind for you, just start to write it down. We call this free association. All
mm-hmm.
right. So, right, your 10-year-old self
Mine's is 10.
is yours is 10 as
Mm-hmm,
well. All right. Yes. So she put right screaming for love and affection.
mm-hmm.
Right. And so we want to find out what number one, we want to listen to that inner self, because now is an opportunity for her, him, them to be heard. Right.
Mm-hmm,
We want to give them that. We want to find out how can we show you that love and affection now, right? What is it that you need for us now? Because we have to tend to our inner child. And when we don't tend to our inner child starts to take over
to act out.
everything. Right. It totally starts to act out. 14, but I have worked through it. Exactly. So I'm going to just say, you know me, Famsy. I'm going to say, check in and see, is there anything else that they
Mm-hmm.
have to say? Right. So, right, we have to check in with them, totally heal those parts of ourselves, because we are the culmination of every age that we've ever been.
Yes.
And so, right, when we're calling out for love, oh my God, it just rose up in me. So, right, when we're calling out for love, each of our ages are calling
Want
out
to
for
do.
love, but we may want different things. And
Mm-hmm,
so then we're calling out and we're expecting this one person to
mm-hmm.
provide what every age of us desires when we're making that call out for love. And then we are getting disappointed and disheartened and everything else because one part of us is getting our needs met while another part of us is not. But we haven't fully tapped into those different parts of us and the needs that they have in order to even articulate what it is that we need and want from ourselves
I
or from
don't
the
like no
other
tampering.
person. And then we're going to be mad at the other person for not being a magician and a psychic and not knowing what we want when we don't even have that clarity ourselves. Show's
I,
over. I'll see y'all later.
I don't have no
Okay.
tampering. Because you know what came up for me? Um, it's a thing that my guy does, right? What she say? Come on, where the basket at? Where the basket?
Pass the plate. Pass the plate.
Come on, Pastor. Which I wanted to say when you were going, right?
Yes.
One of the things that he does for me, like when we're out, is he
Mhm.
puts my coat on. He helps me put my
Mhm.
coat on. And I
Mhm.
have never experienced that before.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I really like that he does that, because it's like it's very like, I don't know, gentleman like,
Mhm.
But now that you're
Caretaking.
saying it, it took
Mhm.
me back to like a
Come
little
on.
kid,
Come on.
right?
Yes.
And that need, and I said to him, I was thinking to myself, he hadn't done it in a while, because I just wear jackets, like, or no coat at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
So when we recently went away, I had a full coat on, and
Mhm.
he helped me put my coat on, and he like
Mhm.
adjusts the collar, all of that or whatever,
Mhm.
making sure the sleeves is right. And I said to him a couple of days ago, I said, I was just thinking that you hadn't put my coat on in a long time, and then you did it.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, he did it. But it makes me feel like, I don't know,
Right.
8-year-old self with a
Mhm.
father putting on, not
Mhm.
in a weird way, but that's what
Mhm.
it took me back to. Like,
Yeah.
just now.
And it cares for, protected, you're
Yeah,
making sure, right, I'm safe
you're
from the
covered.
elements, you're covered, you're right, you're taking so right, all of that. So when we and so now I'm gonna take you back to teenage Kathy,
Hmm.
um, where I remember the guy took me, I went on one of my first dances, right? And so we're what, 14,
Yeah.
15 years old, and God bless him. I had y'all don't do this. I came outside and his father like is driving, his mom's in the passenger seat, and he opens up the car door and I look at him.
Lord.
And here I go. Oh, you don't think I can open the door for myself?
Mm.
And he was
And now,
like
my what you don't know is that his father done told him.
exactly. You better open that door for that girl. Right, right. All of the setup, everything that he did, I was like I was straight. I'm an independent woman. Now this is years before Beyonce and them all came out with the independent women song, but this was it for me. It was like I went to an all girls Catholic school. We take care of ourselves. We don't need a man to do things. And I'm not saying they taught us this. I'm not saying that.
Mm,
I'm saying this was internalized inside of me.
mm-hmm.
And so it was like, I can do for my, I got this, and so forth. So now, fast forward 30 years later, and every time I was dating someone, every time I went to touch the door, he would move my hand away. He's like, no, that's not what you do. Edmund, same thing. He's like, no, I'll open the door for you. It took a long time for him to allow, like, sometimes it's like, babe, it's like, it's all right. Thank you. I appreciate it. But that is his tendency. But I had to grow in to
Mm-hmm.
that. So, right. So we call and we ask for things, but then we have to be able to sit back and take and receive what we're asking for.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead. What's going through your mind?
So this is the preparation, right?
Mm,
This is the you preparing for. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
It,
Look, they told us, they said, don't kiss a boy passionately or you'll end up pregnant. That's what they told us junior
right. I
year,
don't think
senior
mine
year.
told me that, but I didn't. It wasn't like real life,
Yeah,
relationship
yeah, no,
building.
no,
Not even with friends, really.
no.
Your relationship with God.
Yes, yes. And I
Um,
had to learn how to transfer it.
right,
Yeah.
right. So
So
this,
go ahead.
you have to prepare for what you're calling in. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times with my clients, I'll have them write a list out, okay, what is the ideal traits of your partner?
Go
And then
ahead.
I'll have them write it down and I tell them to be very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell them to, okay, now go be those traits.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't
Come
embody
on.
traits, then you can't then ask to receive it. You can't
Yes.
ask a billionaire if you're not on a track to be a billionaire.
Come on.
You can't. It's not going to
Right.
work that way. And
Right.
so you can, but what is the dynamic of the relationship? What's the
Right.
nature of the relationship? How are you going to be
Right.
treated? Is it going to be based off of love or
Yes.
money? Because those are two different things, so
Yes.
you have to embody and be able to give what you're asking for in some capacity. So
Come
if you
on.
want someone that is a great communicator, then
Yes.
you have to work on communicating.
Communication.
And I
Yeah.
think for the people who are asking, like, where do we start? What do we
Mm-hmm.
do? How do we do the work? Write a list out of the ideal traits of your partner
Mm-hmm.
and be very specific. You can look at movies or,
Mm-hmm.
great role models of relationships
Mhm.
and take the
Mhm.
positive qualities of,
Mhm.
what you want. And even from past relationships that were not so positive,
Mhm.
you can flip those negatives into a
Come
positive.
on.
And
Yep.
so you should have a list of like at least 15.
Let me tell you something. I remember when one of my girlfriends and I, we wrote a list of what we wanted. This might be like 97.
Mm.
And we were writing a list. And so she was finished. And I had a whole 5 subject page notebook.
Yeah. Right.
Right. I'm going to town. And she's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Here I go. I'm writing down everything that I want. And so she looked at my list. She said, you ain't going to get all of that. I said, why? I'm giving it all. And she was like, oh, my bad.
Right.
And she
I mean,
started going,
what's on yours? Looking at
right,
your picture.
exactly,
Hmm.
right. This is know thyself,
Yes.
right? Because you have to know what you're bringing to the table. And like I said, when I finally met my husband, this was exactly, Erica said, Wait, let me see if I can get it up. She said, period,
Period.
right? Exclamation point. Exactly. So, right, when this, like I said, that was like 97, somewhere between 97 and 99 when we were doing that activity. And now, you know what? I think it was the summer, I think it was like the summer of 98. But anyway,
Mhm.
I didn't meet Edmund until December of 2011 or
Mhm.
September of 2011. So, I mean, we're talking over 10 years, but
Mhm.
I had already started the
Yeah.
process.
Mhm.
That's my point. I
Mhm.
had started the healing journey, honestly, in 94. I know some of y'all like, well, dang, how old is she? Right? I had started.
She was very, very self-aware at a young age.
Right, but I had started that. I got to get myself on track. I'm
Mhm.
stagnant. I'm young. I'm emotionally immature. I'm not. Now, I knew it. I felt it. I remember having conversations with my girlfriends and, like, what do I do? How do I grow this up? Like I said, this was before any master's program. This was before any doctorate program. This was just, I knew I wanted a healthy relationship. I see, she said, I want a partner. Right. So I had to get clear on what does this partnership look like in
Yeah.
my head.
Mhm.
Right. My parents, yes, I had two parents. They had their relationship, but we're different people.
Mhm.
So things that my mother wanted and accepted with my father, and vice versa, what my father wanted and accept for my mother, is very different than what I want and accept and what I would even tolerate.
Mhm.
Right. So yes, there's a certain frame of reference that they provided. I'm not saying that, but
Mhm.
there was also the awareness that I wouldn't choose either of them.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Because I'm a different entity and I need something different. So
Mhm.
we have to clarify when we say we want a partner, what does partnership look like
Yeah.
to you?
Mhm.
Right. So, again, as we're calling in love, we're saying, hey, I want you, I'm inviting you into my life,
Mhm.
but I got to know it, have an idea of it. So when it shows up, I see it.
Mhm.
Because it's not just about, and for a long time for me, now I always love a chocolate man. I ain't gonna lie, that's always been my thing, a
Mhm.
chocolate man with a bald head. Hoo child. So, however, if he showed up, my husband is a lot smaller than the type of man who I would have imagined myself with.
Mhm.
My men in my family, they big, right?
Mhm.
They big football players. This is what I would have expected. That's not his build,
Mhm.
all right? But because I was clear on what I wanted, I recognized it even though the package was
Mhm.
slightly
Not the
different.
package.
The package was
Okay, keep
slightly.
going. Keep going, because
Okay.
you're getting a little
Woo, child, I got to
right.
go. Woo, woo. No, just kidding. So,
You get
but
a little
yeah,
carried
but
away, guys.
I, I had to know what the relationship was that I wanted. I
Yeah.
needed to know what those aspects were that would be, because, right, that's what's going to sustain the relationship.
Mhm.
That's what I'm calling in. So if I want someone who's supportive, if I
Yeah.
want someone who's compassionate, I want someone who's caring and protective. I want someone who I can talk to. I want someone who's going to allow me to be my full self
Yes.
and my evolving
Yes.
self,
Mhm.
right? So I need someone who's open, who doesn't see male dominated, male lead only.
And
Say it
mhm.
again.
Competition.
Yeah, and someone who's into collaboration, not competition, right? All of these characteristics in order for me to thrive and grow.
Mhm.
Go ahead. I see there's a comment here and I'm going to pull it up. What's going through your mind before I pull it up?
No, all of those things, just someone too that can handle the fullness of you. And you kind of said that, but that handling and not feeling like you said, well, I said like insecure and
Hmm.
it to be a competition.
Oh, yeah.
So they
Yeah.
have to be very strong in their,
Yes.
stance, their delivery,
Yes.
in their position.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very
Yeah.
important to me as well.
So we have here a relationship that is based on unconditional love. And that is very, let's just stop with that first sentence there.
Like done.
Okay. Before
Yes.
we go on to the rest, Right. And what does unconditional love mean? And that's a conversation. That's a conversation Evan and I had.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What does unconditional love mean? Because a lot of times people like to use the phrase or this or the word,
Mm-hmm.
but to honestly stand by the fact that you love this person with no conditions. It
Mm-hmm.
is not a conditional. It is not based on X, Y, and Z. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have to look and what does that really do you even think that's possible? Right? And again, this is self awareness and self reflection. Do you think it's possible? And then, right, that's maybe different than what are deal breakers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there may be some deal breakers to the relationship because I may need to love you from afar.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, I still love you, but we're not going to be together in this type of relationship because that's a deal breaker. So, there's all of these different nuances when it comes to relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to say about that first part of the sentence?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. Being in love phase is a feeling that comes and goes. I'll let you take that one.
Hmm. It, it comes with the, like she said, the highs and the lows of the relationship. So
Mhm.
you may feel it in the beginning. You may go through a period where you're not like totally disconnected from the relationship, but maybe there's a strain on the relationship where you're not fully like you love the person, but you're not fully in love with them. And you
Mhm.
actively work at reconnecting and then you fall in love again all over, you know,
Mhm.
out in the relationship.
Mhm.
Well, this takes me back to the thought process of you being in a relationship with several different people within that
Mhm.
one person, because every five
Mhm.
years that person is going to change, evolve,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
all that. So sometimes the elevation
Mhm.
can be rocky, you know, but
Mhm.
are you able, it ties into the unconditional love. Like,
Mhm.
are you willing to stick by them
That's
through
right.
tough times and then
Right.
circle back around to being
Mhm.
in love, the in
Yeah.
love phase again.
It,
So
right. And it's really that feeling of euphoria and that floating and so forth. So yes, I think that those feelings they come and they go, but right, the love part stays.
yeah,
So right, and
that's why
everybody's
I said the
story
being
is different.
phase.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And definitely understand everybody's story is different. Your
Yeah.
journey with love,
Mhm.
your journey with love, your journey in love, your
Mhm.
journey as you're learning about love,
Yeah.
there's going to be some similarities to what we're saying, and then there's going to be your own unique experience of it as
I
well.
got one thing.
Go for
It's
it.
also your view of the love,
Come
right? So
on.
if your view of love or your view of relationship is like that you are in love, then that's what you're going to feel. It
Yeah.
won't be a phase. It won't be a come and a go.
Yeah.
Because if you're in love with yourself, again, going back to
Mhm.
you attract what you are
Mhm.
and where you
Mhm.
are,
Mhm.
you're going to be in love with that person regardless. So I
Yeah.
get where she's saying it could be a phase, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a phase. It could be
Yeah.
very intentional all
Yeah.
the time according to what you're putting into it and
Yeah.
your view of it.
Yeah. And we're going to follow back up on this on another show because I had someone who was going to be a guest tonight, but unfortunately some family stuff
Hmm.
came up and they couldn't. But just talking about the physiological response to love
Hmm.
and how we have to be aware of that. And y'all can do your own research in the meantime to look at right what our bodies are responding to when it comes to this love and relationship thing. You know, you hear a thing like I think it's is it I want to say it's oxytocin, but like why women want to cuddle, you know, after physically intimate moments, because there's certain hormones and neurotransmitters and things that are released physiologically in the brain. And so we have to look at all of that happens when it comes to crushes and things like that. So that being in love piece, some of it comes and goes just because our body chemistry changes and fluctuates as we grow in age and as the relationship does what it does. So we have to start to take that stuff into consideration. And many times we get so caught in that it doesn't
Be
feel like it used to, so it must be over
or something.
or something's wrong. And you're looking forward to her point to a I'm going to say fleeting but a temporary feeling that comes and goes,
Mhm.
right? So just because, like, if we think about just right, because I can dance, just because, right, when the ocean, and this is a really good example. So we have some footage. We had some people over in Tanzania, in the Zanzibar, and they had gone out to a beach. And at one point during the day, when the tide is out, it is 100% beach.
Mhm.
But later on, when the tide comes back in, all of that is now underwater.
Mhm.
Now, it's just a matter of waiting. This happens every single day.
Mhm.
So it is a matter at some point the water is going to go out and it's going to look dry and you can walk it. And another point, all the water is going to come back in and you can swim it. Okay. It's the same thing. That love, it has an ebb and flow. There's a current to it in the way in which you experience the
Mhm.
love within your relationship. You're going to learn what
Mhm.
that feels like. And we have that reality with parents, with siblings, with friends,
Mhm.
right? So, all right. Anything you want to say before we go to the third part?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So then I need to know that you are going to love unconditionally. So this is something that's important to this person. Um, and you need, if this is something that's important to you, you need to express that to who you're with so that y'all can have an honest conversation about it and learn and grow and know that this is an element within your relationship that you both hold to high esteem.
Yeah. I also want to add, like you said, to X, what does unconditional love look and mean to them?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
you could have two different views of it.
100%.
So if you
Yep.
have this conversation, to which going back to a little bit, we talked about healing and growing. And for me,
Mhm.
being able to have hard conversations with people and honest conversations with people and being vulnerable with
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
for your encouragement.
Mhm.
But that helped me to elevate and to be, the communicator that I am,
Yep.
and also be in the space that I am in terms of relationships. So having that conversation with your person and asking them, but also accepting their answer and
Yes.
not forcing your what you view to be unconditional love onto them, like
Yes.
allowing them the space to
Yes.
express and then for you to receive how they wish to express it.
Mhm.
Not one way to show someone unconditional love. Is multiple ways. It's why we're individual people.
That's
So,
right.
but you have to, hopefully they will want to give it to you in the way that you need to receive,
Mhm.
but also
Mhm.
open to receive the way that they are willing to give because
At
energy
this time.
at this time because it can
Mhm.
change,
Yep.
it can enhance, it could be better, but energetically we're all different people at different levels. So
Yes.
that you could be a level 10, they could be a level 7. So it's like,
Mhm.
are you okay with the level 7 way
Mhm.
of receiving it, or do
Yeah.
you want only level 10? So it's
That's
just
right.
being open to how people are willing to give,
Yeah.
what
And
you desire.
how, right, they're willing and capable of, and like we said, at this time,
Yeah.
because many times it's not until we have the practice, until we have
Have
the
the
experience,
conversation.
have the conversation, right?
Yeah. A lot of
That,
my conversations, they are first for a lot of people.
that's right.
And they're like, I've
That's
never
right.
had anyone ask me that. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the answer?
Now
like,
think about it. Right. And then we have to understand that people process things differently,
differently.
right? And at different times. So you ask me a question, I'm gonna sit here and okay, blah 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 blah. And then I've had other people I ask them a question, they're like, I need a couple days,
And
right? So
we're
now,
like, what?
right. So now this is an opportunity for us to work on patience, right?
Don't,
While we're waiting for that
don't take
person to
my
come back.
patience.
Right.
We're working through it.
That's it. That's right. You're strengthening it, right? Patience is a muscle that is built over time through experiences. So, yes. Well, we are at the top of our hour and a little beyond. Is there anything else that you want to make sure we share with them today so that they are, as they're calling in love, they are ready?
I did write down some notes on here. The one thing that I wanted to touch on is like overlooking the good girl or the good guy,
Oh,
right?
do tell.
I'm sorry, we're not gonna go long on this, please. We're not gonna go long. I'm
Okay.
talking about something. Now I'm acting like you.
You
I'm the
sure
one
are.
that's talking, and
Uh-huh. Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna go over. I'm gonna give y'all 5 minutes. We're gonna give y'all 5 minutes,
All right,
but
y'all, we gonna see. Let's go.
don't time it.
Got ready to say, Leslie, hit the timer.
Right.
Okay.
Like burn, burn. Okay. So when we're calling in love, right?
Yeah.
We have to clear our view of people. So if we're used to receiving toxic people, we're used to looking at thinking that certain things are toxic traits, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I had a client a couple of days ago, and I was talking her through a new relationship or a new dating experience that
Mm-hmm.
she's going through.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "But I think he has toxic traits." And me, with my trained ears, I'm like, well, what's toxic about it?
Right.
And she's like,
Right.
because like when I say something, he just gets quiet. And I said, well, does he hang up on you? Does he do this? No, he just has an attitude. And I said, okay, well, that's healthy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
toxic. Toxic would
Mm-hmm.
be cursing you out, hanging up the phone on
Mm-hmm.
you, stonewalling
Mm-hmm.
you, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So being conscious of like
Yes.
healthy traits
Yes. Come
versus
on.
toxic traits, and
Yes.
the good girls
Yes.
and the good guys versus
Yes.
the bad girls and the bad guys. So
Mm-hmm.
toxic energy from both, you know,
Mm-hmm.
males and females, but
Mm-hmm.
clearing your view and really creating a healthy view of, okay, is this toxic or is it healthy? Am I not used
Yes.
to bad communication, or
Yeah.
is it him being sassy?
Yeah.
Understand that people have feelings, like he's entitled to
Yes,
his
he
feelings and
is.
entitled to his thoughts. And
Yes.
if somebody is calling you out on a trait
Yes.
that is toxic for you,
Yeah.
don't look at it as them being like sassy or toxic. It's like, okay, that's them dinging you. That's them
Yeah.
letting you know, like,
Yeah.
listen, I'm letting you know my intentions. I'm letting you know what I want, but this
Mm-hmm.
isn't going to fly with me. So can we work on it? It's not
Mm-hmm.
toxic. So
That's right.
yeah,
So learning to call things for what they are,
yeah.
right? And really taking a look at it and don't being so quick to put what social labels that are floating out there into your experience. And this is why I say everybody's experience is different. There are some similarities from time to time where it's like, oh, okay, that's it. But you don't have to have everybody doesn't have toxic traits. Everybody don't isn't narcissistic. Everybody isn't self-serving, right? So we have to recognize that. The other thing that you mentioned is sometimes, and I laugh because they sent me a message that someone had sent to them. And
Mm-hmm.
when I first read it, I was like, oof. But then when I read it again, I said, the person was honest,
Mm-hmm.
they were transparent,
Mm-hmm.
they've been honest, they've been transparent. This is right in alignment with how they are,
A pattern.
right? This is and it wasn't rude, it wasn't nasty, it wasn't curt, it was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, this is what you said you wanted in a relationship. You wanted someone to be honest, you wanted someone to be truthful. So, right, it was not toxic in any way, shape, or form. And so, once we walk through it and look through it with the proper lens,
Mm-hmm.
we were able to see it clearly
Mm-hmm.
for what it was.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. So, yeah. And like you said, because habitually you may have started to expect something different,
Mm-hmm.
that then you now try to look through everything with that lens. We have to make sure that we're seeing things clearly. And this is why sometimes you need that extra assistance, right? You need it from a friend, a relative, a therapist, a trusted individual that is there with your best interests in mind and willing to look at a situation clearly. Definitely. Good example. Good
Okay.
example. You
Under
did a good job. And you did it under 5. Look at y'all. Y'all clap it up for her. She did it. She did it. Was there anything else on your list? I think this is very important because, especially like I said, we're rolling up on Valentine's Day next week. I know different people have feelings about that, whether they have one, they don't have one. I know some people are doing like Galentine's Day and things like that. So, from the self love queen, and I know you having some coughing moments over
Yeah.
there. Is there anything that you would like to share with the individuals as we have this self love, we have this love holiday coming up?
Um, give the love to yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
Show up for yourself. You know, if you like flowers, buy yourself flowers.
Come
If
on.
you want balloons, buy yourself
Yes.
balloons.
You want
Oh
chocolate? Get yourself a box of chocolates.
yes, get yourself a box of chocolates. Anything that you want for yourself. Don't wait on someone to give it to you, because that's where the disappointment comes in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you have to give it to yourself first, and
Yes.
then it eventually will come. Maybe
Yeah.
not in the form that you originally desire, but
Yeah.
it will come. But you have to show up for yourself first in
Yeah.
all ways, and especially as it relates to love and the things that you want
Yeah.
in a relationship. So
Yeah.
yes, on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, don't be sad or depressed. Like, just keep yourself active, busy,
Keep your head up.
create a playlist of songs, cook yourself
Mm-hmm.
dinner, go
Mm-hmm.
to lunch, buy yourself the flowers,
Yes.
do all
Any and
the
everything
things
that you want,
that you want.
right? You do for yourself. And my thing is, I learned how to do that again. Everything that we're telling you is everything that we've
We've
done
done.
for ourselves, right? So I I tell people, teach people about you. Okay, it is very important that you teach people about you. Okay, come on now, Miss Plethora. I have two dates. Yes, well done, well played. So, but you want to make sure that you are doing for yourself, and so that it is natural for you. So when this person or these people come into your life,
Leah.
right, they already see that this is how you treat you, right? You're not waiting for them to elevate you. They're coming in and they're matching you, and so that y'all can pyramid this thing together,
Listen,
right? Go
yes.
ahead.
So remember when I was in my top tier phase?
Yes.
So there was a period where I'm like, okay, I want all of my experiences to be top tier. And
Mhm.
so with transitioning into that top tier phase, I started aligning with men that provided me with that top tier experience, because I was showing up in that space. And so
Mhm.
I would get dressed. Well, I still get
Mhm.
dressed, but
Mhm.
dressed all the time and
Mhm.
showing up for myself. And now it's like, okay, I really don't have to say much, because my energy precedes me.
It matches that.
It matches that. And
Right.
so I have
Right.
aligned
Right.
with that frequency. And it's like,
Yes.
okay, we're going to fine dining restaurants,
Mhm.
we're having these great experiences.
Mhm.
It's really because I poured into myself, and I
That's
said,
right.
no more low level dinners at
No
date
more diners
diners
unless I want a diner.
unless
Right.
I want a diner.
Right.
But I had to elevate myself. And in
Yeah.
elevating myself, it was buying the flowers. It was
Yep.
doing the things. It was getting a massage. It was getting the
Yep.
facials. It was
Yep.
elevating my wardrobe. It
Yep.
was getting my hair done.
Hair
I'm
done. Yep.
having makeup appointments to learn how to do my own makeup.
Mhm.
Um, Creating vision boards of
Mhm.
the life that I wanted, speaking
Mhm.
it, writing it,
Mhm.
locked pictures
Yep.
of in my phone. So it's
Real
very
talk.
sustainable.
Yeah, it is. And so it's the same thing with the relationship, right? You're calling in love. So as you're putting the call out, what are you calling out? Again, right? If you were to do a vision board, this might be a fun activity actually to do on or leading up to Valentine's Day. If you were to
Of
look, yeah, if you were to put
yeah, I got
love in the center,
yeah, I got homework.
ah, right? And you were to put love in the center, what does love look like to you?
Hmm.
Right. I know the light is glaring in there, but y'all see the point.
Hmm.
Right. What does love look like to you? Relationships,
Do the
romantic
signs
relationships.
out of it.
Uh-huh. Right. So you have, and y'all can put it in the chat. Romantic relationships. What does love look like?
Mhm.
And what else? What would you put on there? I
You said
can't come my lights as easily as I used to.
so love for self.
Mhm.
Love for self.
There we
Um,
go.
okay, yeah.
Mhm.
What was the first one? Relationship, what?
Romantic relationships.
Yeah. Love for self,
Mhm.
love for family, love for passion, or for
Mhm. What was it? You said family, passion, and what was the last one?
purpose. Purpose and passion could be the same thing.
Mhm.
Love for, I don't know, humanity.
Mhm.
Are you giving back to the
Mhm.
community?
Mhm.
Um, environment.
Mhm.
Hey,
That's literally what was on my mind.
okay.
Mhm.
God.
Mhm. Right. So as you're calling out these things, you're getting clear on what love looks like in your life so that your life is full of love, right? In all of the different ways so that you would be having a full life. And
Hmm.
then you start to incorporate these pieces into your life,
Hmm.
right? And knowing that the other ones are going to come because it's going to magnetize, it's
Hmm.
inevitable. Ancestors,
Yeah.
right?
Who was that? Aisha.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. They're all
So
interconnected.
they're all interconnected, right? And it's going to magnetize. And it's a matter of what comes first. That it doesn't matter what comes first. So like I said, I made the list back in 97, 98. I cleared out my closet in 2007, and I did and one of my mentees came to live with me in 2008. One of my girlfriends came to live with me in 2009, and I was like, "Come on, God, you know I said I
This
want
ain't Miley
my
I'm
my
talking
man, my man, my man. This ain't working. Now what is going on here?"
This not
Right.
Miley I'm
They
talking
that ain't it. Right? But here's the funny part. My mentee, her nickname is Love.
Mm,
Love came to my house first. And
mm,
so I peeped it and I said, okay, I see you. And then my other girlfriend, she's music. And
mm,
I said, oh, music came next. And I said, okay. And then while she was right before she was getting ready to move out, that's when I met him.
mm.
All right. So we look at how what's ushered into our life, usher. We look at what's ushered into our life. Go ahead.
Get the tambourine ready.
Okay, I'm ready. You know, I stay ready.
For me,
Mm-hmm.
things had to be cleared out.
Yes.
Negative energy had to be cleared out.
Yes.
Certain relationships had to be severed.
Come on.
I made the space, right?
Yes. Yes.
But it was the space wasn't 100% cleared. So
Yes.
tying it back to the beginning of the
Mhm.
lie, right? I still
Yes.
have pieces, remnants
Come
of
on.
pieces that had to be
Yes.
cleared out. And then
Yes.
friendships that
Yes.
would have tarnished my way
Yes.
of thinking.
Yes.
So that had to get cleared out too.
Yes.
And you made it very clear, like, oh no, they couldn't, you could not be friends with them when this
Mm-mm.
person came into play.
Mm-mm.
So it was like, I don't know, a couple of months, maybe like
Yes.
4 months.
Yes.
The friendships were done, two
Yes.
in the same month.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you had the love and
Yeah.
the music, which were both positive, but you have been
Yeah.
doing the work since 1990.
Yeah. It was 10 years, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. But on
1990
my
jumped up
accelerated
on the
course,
scene.
things moved rapidly
Yes.
to
Yes.
be able to make space for
Mhm.
what I have now. What? What she say?
You already know she said something.
She stuck with me. Yeah, she she be like, oh,
Right.
okay,
Right.
what's going on? But she is
Yeah.
my you. Like, it's
Yeah.
like If you're
Yeah.
not available, I'm calling her. Y'all
Yeah.
basically saying the same thing, don't even
Mhm.
know that you're
Mhm.
speaking the same language to me. So
Right.
that's how you know, well, I know that you guys are both like trusted sources for me to
Yeah.
go to because you're
Yeah.
saying the same thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's freaky at times,
Yeah.
but it helps me to know, like, I'm protected
You're
and you
clear.
guys
Mhm.
care
Mhm.
and you're not going to send me
Mhm.
wrong.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm glad that I'm gonna give you a timber and shake. And I'm going to say yes, that is very important because everybody, when you're calling in, and in this way, we're really talking about a romantic relationship.
oh,
This
and I mean, I feel like all of it because even your relationship with
is
God,
for,
if
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
have the right
in your
people
job,
around
yeah. I'm gonna put a passion, purpose. I'm gonna put career
you,
down here if if that's something that you're interested in. Um, so one of the things that Edmund will say is that he he's my best friend. And that is a phrase that I did not grow up using because I felt as though if I called you friend, there was no higher thing than that. There was no best, there was no competition, there was no tier system to my friendship. If I called you a friend, you were a friend, you had full access, right? I didn't grade you on any level. When Edmund and I got married, I didn't practice what I was going to say. I just waited until that moment. And at the moment, at that altar, I said to him, "You are my best friend." And I broke down.
mm-hmm.
I was never expecting that to come out my mouth. Now, here's the thing, if I think back, the fact that I never gave anybody that title, I was always holding that for who that belonged to.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was going to be my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he said to me he had someone, and I knew who it was, who he referred to as his best friend, Ruby. Everybody, you can listen to any past podcast, blog talk radio show from 2009 onward. He always said Ruby was his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
He said when we got married, prior to us getting married, he
Mm-hmm.
called Ruby
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "You have always been my best friend, but I'm about to marry Kat, and she has to be my best friend now going forward." Okay. So it was getting, and of course, she said, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's getting people in right position. And so, my infamous line, we must redefine the nature of our association.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean a person has to get kicked out. And sometimes people aren't willing to be recalibrated
Mm-hmm.
within the relationship. So as my girls got married, I had these conversations with them ahead of time. Like, I know I'm your go-to. I know I'm your, if something go down, I'm the one that you call good, bad, or indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot play that role anymore because you now have a whole husband
Mm-hmm.
and that is their responsibility. I still got you, but I'm not going to get you like he got you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We had those real talks. I understand we're not going to be able to hang out like we used to. Some people have difficulty allowing space. I knew what you were calling into your life. So
Mm-hmm.
I said to you, whenever, I'm always going to take the step back. I'm not going anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I will take a different role in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have to understand that. So even career, school, so forth, when we call things into our life, the same thing with when I went to school, I was calling that into my life. I had to let everyone know this was now priority. Yeah, I still want to go out. Yeah, I still want to go to the club. Yeah, I still want to go to dinner. Yeah, I still want to go on vacation. But this is taking top priority. So that means all of that comes second. So there's going to be times where I want to go, but I can't. There's going to be times where I want to hang out, but I can't.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's the reality. So when you're calling something into your life, when we say, make sure you're ready
Mm-hmm.
for it, do whatever the necessary work is so that you're ready. And then we go with it.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, because that was 5 times 5.
Yeah.
It's all good though. All right, y'all. Y'all got a little extra. Y'all got old school live when we would go
Right.
for 90 minutes. All right. So
Did not think this was happening tonight.
we didn't know. We didn't know. So buy yourself some flowers, get
Yeah.
yourself some chocolate, buy
Yeah.
yourself a beautiful card.
Mm.
You know, we talked about
Write
your
yourself a
inner
love letter.
child. Write yourself a love letter. Buy that Valentine's for whatever age of you and every age of you that you want. If you need to go get the big box of chocolate, get that for every part of you. Whatever it is to celebrate you and love yourself.
Yes.
All right. So, self love queen, before we roll out any books, any upcoming events, any websites, social media people need to know about from you.
All of that. It's like, so I am going to be a guest speaker at a sisters brunch. It's called Sisters in
Yes,
Suits.
that's so
It's
cute.
March the 25th. I'm waiting to hear like more information about it, but that is coming in the pipeline.
Hmm.
So don't follow me on social media. Please do. My Instagram handle is Deana Deana Davis _LSW, and I believe it's the same for TikTok and Instagram.
Hmm.
So follow. I will be sure to post all of that on my page. Books. I have my 30-day self-love challenge workbook. It's a journal style workbook where it takes you from beginning to end 30 days of self-love. It gives you activities and things like that. That is
Hmm.
available on Amazon. The link is in my bio on Instagram and TikTok. I also have an ebook which is called How to Heal from a Heartbreak. A heartbreak doesn't mean just from a relationship. It can mean any type of heartbreak from any relationship. So that's an ebook. That's also the link is in my bio. Um, Website. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go through everything.
It's all good.
My website is www.deanaldavis.com. You can go
Hmm.
there for all things about me, to
Hmm.
do a consultation, to book a session. And I'm trying to think what else. I think that's it.
I think that's it for now. Any self love
Cycles.
yes, thank you. Cycles and or events coming up.
Not yet. No cycles in the pipeline. Maybe in the
Okay.
spring. Not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and no self love socials coming up.
Okay.
So
Not
yeah.
at the moment. Okay,
No,
but if you follow her, she'll keep you abreast of all of those.
yes.
My handle is always Ask Dr. Walls, AskDrWalls. YouTube is the only one that has Ask Dr. Walls 525, so be sure to subscribe. Tomorrow I actually have another show. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's Family and Finance, and
Mm,
I'll be talking with Brian Brogan, who is actually a childhood friend, and he's a wealth management person.
okay.
So he helps with family succession planning, legacy, generational wealth,
Mm,
so forth. He used to run the Wealth like Management Center at St. Joe's University and for a
oh,
couple banks.
mm,
So I'm super excited to talk with him. Tomorrow we'll be talking about your money personality.
mm,
So looking at that, and he gave me another phrase, but I have my notes. I have so many notes. Let me see here. Mm, Sorry, y'all. I turned the page on my notes. So I keep two notebooks next to me at all times. So I got stuff all over the place. So anyway, so that's something that I encourage you, if you haven't subscribed to Ask Dr. Walls 525, do so. The other thing is, of course, I always have my books, The Greatest Soul Journey, Live by the Spirit. So there's Greatest Soul Journey. So when you recognize it on Amazon, they're all on Amazon. Live by the Spirit, and then The Adventures of Froggy T and Bunny, a hip hop tale. Bunny gets bullied. The Reunion,
mm,
Froggy Fu and Mungu, and Feeling Feelings. And then I do have a digital download, which is fresh off the
mm,
press, which is Goal Getter Workbook 101 to help you achieve your goals. And like I said, that's digital download, and that's on my new site, which is A Course in Humanity, acourseinhumanity.com. So you can check that out as well. I'll start to link it to other sites as well, but that's fresh off the press. I just dropped it on Sunday.
mm.
So And as far as events coming up, I'm actually going to be the host of a red carpet for a movie
Mhm.
that's coming out, but they just put that it's sold out. So I can't even, but
Wow.
they said, yep, it's sold out, a 300 seat theater.
Mm.
So I know. And so they're working on actually trying to get another theater. So they currently have a wait list.
Oh,
So in the event that it opens up, I will put it on my askdrwalls.com website. So you can check that out. And again, Instagram, TikTok, that's all Ask Dr. Walls, and YouTube is the Ask Dr. Walls 525.
okay.
So I think that's it for now.
Yeah.
And until we until we meet again, thank y'all for hanging in there with us and joining us tonight. We pray that you receive something that will be a blessing to you and or to someone else.
Mm.
As always, we will see you again here at the greatest
Blueprints.
on the first and third Tuesday of the month. So we'll see you in about 2 weeks. All
Yes.
right, y'all. Be well. God bless. And as always, continue to live your greatest life. See you soon.
Bye.